Ahí van.
3, 4, 5, 6. Son 6.
Abajo o arriba o arriba.
Ahí van.
1, 2, 3,
a la misma
4,
altura.
5, 6, 7. Ay, güey, no son 8.
Qué barbaridad,
Ahí se van a ver bien. Y van a una velocidad, pero 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 en la pantalla.
Síguelo, no lo cierras.
¿Están a la misma altura Telles?
Afirmativo.
Poquito, arriba.
8, 9, 10, 11 contando toda la cola. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11.
Ok, no sabemos qué estamos viendo, son unos objetos nada más luminosos que vienen a la misma altura que nosotros. Con eso no podemos saber qué distancia.
That was an excerpt from one of the most talked about UFO encounters of the early 2000s. But is everything as it appears to be? Or is there another, more benign explanation? We're a new channel covering declassified files. Subscribe to join us. March 5th, 2004. Near Mexico's southern border with Guatemala and Belize, a government aircraft is on routine patrol monitoring smuggling routes. The plane is a Merlin C-26 twin turboprop, one of a handful in the Mexican Secretariat of National Defense. 3 were on board: a radarman, infrared operator, and pilot. Was I afraid? Yes. A little afraid because we were facing something that had never happened before, the radarman said afterwards. I couldn't say what it was, but I think they're completely real, his colleague added. Around this point in their flight, the crew begins to notice the objects on their FLIR, or forward-looking infrared. They count up to 11 UFOs, appearing only as bright points of light, indicating they're emitting heat. Nothing was seen in the visible spectrum. Camera settings weren't disclosed, so we don't know the exact temperature of the objects, but the crew did estimate altitude, near their own at 11,500 feet. A report from the Associated Press adds more. The captain said he attempted to chase the lights and at one point felt surrounded. Quote, I believe they could feel we were pursuing them. The flight recording somewhat backs this up. Crew members report objects at different positions.
El que tienes a la 1, yo tengo uno a las 9 y adelante del que va a las 9, aproximadamente a las 9, pero adelante van 2 puntos igual luminosos.
¿En qué posición? ¿Telles?
A las 9 de nuestra posición.
A las 9, a ver, permíteme, checo.
No puede ser.
Ese que tienes, ¿en qué posición está Telles? Está ahí abajito, una 9. Telles.
Ok.
Adelante.
Ese que tienes ahí, ¿a qué posición está?
Lo tengo a las 9.
Jóvenes,
No estamos solos.
sí, no estamos solos, de veras. Sí, qué cosa tan rara,
When the video was released, Mexico's Defense Department claimed it was an unexplainable encounter with 11 UFOs. But was the aircraft really not alone, as they said? There are 2 schools of thought. The infrared footage was filmed looking back in the 8 and 9 o'clock positions, to the northwest. The plane was heading east. At the time of the sighting, onboard radar was also picking up multiple objects directly in front of the aircraft, in the 12 and 1 o'clock positions. The bright, luminous objects behind the plane did not show up on radar. The radar returns ahead of them, though, were not visible, even in IR. So, could both observations have been the same phenomenon? Perhaps. The pilots seemed to think so. But others who investigated it afterwards, including some ufologists, aren't so sure. UFO researcher and former Aeromexico pilot Alejandro Franz proposed oil wells could explain what came up on infrared. The lights appeared in the same direction as Cantarell Field, the largest oil field in Mexico 80 kilometers offshore in the Bay of Campeche. Some platforms there burn non-stop. Matching up satellite imagery with FLIR footage, Franz showed the lights could have been a composite of 4 different oil wells. The crew saw the 3-dimensional scene on a 2-dimensional display and became confused, he suggests. The wells' position near the horizon made them only look like they were flying near 11,000 feet. According to Franz, their movement was an illusion too, created by the relative motion of the airplane and the clouds passing between. But what about those anomalous radar returns? Skeptics also have an answer. Ufologist Brad Sparks explained it best in 2004. The radar targets could have been vehicles on Yucatan Highway 186, which was directly in front of the aircraft at the time of the readings. This is most evident, he says, when the operator reported a target at 1 o'clock traveling 60 miles per hour. This was the exact location of the highway and his normal vehicle cruising speed.
Ok, el que tenemos a la 1 de nuestra posición lo tengo a 19 millas a la 1 de nuestra posición con 52 nudos.
As the plane approached the highway, in fact, one crewman says, "This means we are surrounded," referring to the radar target ahead and the infrared lights behind. However, there's still something strange. At least 2 radar targets seem to maintain a constant distance and speed with the plane, staying 2 to 3 miles away. This rules out a ground-based explanation for those. Is it possible a genuine UFO was encountered that day? And that convinced the crew to conflate the other radar returns and infrared objects into one larger phenomenon? Sure. It's also possible there really was a luminous UFO, and it became mixed in with observations of the oil wells. The fact is, this case remains unexplained, and frankly, we can see either side of the argument. One more thing though. To discount the entire experience would be to discount 3 trained observers, all believing they came in contact with anomalous objects, something that, in the pilot's words, could feel they were pursuing them. To write off the sightings also requires writing off Mexico's Department of Defense, who concluded the pilots filmed 11 UFOs. It also means the Associated Press got the story wrong. This is all possible, but something to keep in mind. And it's something we haven't seen the skeptics address. As for our point of view, we can't help but feel like we don't have the full story. The raw radar tapes are unfortunately not available. All analysis must be done from the operator's voice recording. That may be the missing piece of the puzzle that solves this once and for all. We'll let you know if any new evidence comes in. What do you think? Was this an anomalous encounter? Explainable? Or a combination of the two? Share your opinion in the comments. And hit the notification bell to be alerted when our next episode comes out. We found something odd in the CIA archives. The agency was monitoring Brazilian poltergeist activity. To our Patreon supporters, thank you so much. It means a lot. See you next time.